I'm Melisha.
Standing in the middle of the opulent French embassy ballroom, surrounded by a throng of powerful people congratulating me, I cast a glance at my biological family. They're standing nearby, isolated and flustered, their faces a mixture of shock and disbelief. It's been a long, awaited moment of reckoning, and I can't help but reflect on how I got here. A few weeks ago, I received an invitation to the French embassy's annual gala. It came on a thick, cream-colored card with gold embossing. Miss Alicia Dupont, personal guest of Ambassador Gerard. Below it, in smaller print, it stated that black tie was required and security clearance was necessary. I sent a photo of the invitation to my mother. Her response was as cold and dismissive as ever. "That's nice, dear. Your father's real. Estate firm is representing some French clients, so we'll be there too." There were no questions about my connection with the ambassador, just the usual lack of interest in my life. I was used to being the forgotten one in my family. My older brother, Henry, was a high-flying investment banker. He had a penthouse in Manhattan and a fleet of luxury cars. My younger sister, Lily, was a famous fashion designer, with her designs gracing the runways of Paris and Milan. They were the shining stars, the ones my parents always boasted about at social gatherings. Meanwhile, I was Alicia Dupont, though my family still called me Alicia Thompson, refusing to recognize that I'd legally changed my surname 2 years ago. According to my mother, I worked in some translation-related job, a description that made it seem like I was just a part-time helper at an airport. In reality, I was a top-notch diplomatic interpreter for the State Department. I'd worked at NATO summits, translated for the president during international meetings, and was one of the few in the country certified for high-level security translations in French, Spanish, and Russian. I earned a 6-figure salary, had been courted by several intelligence agencies, and held a security clearance that was highly classified. 2 years ago, during a complex diplomatic mission in Brussels, I met Ambassador Gerard and his wife, Claudette. They were in their late 60s. Tragically, they'd lost their only son in a car accident a few years prior. Working closely with them during the crisis, we developed a deep bond. Eventually, they adopted me through a formal Belgian legal process. My biological family knew nothing about this. They thought I was just on a long-term business trip in Europe. I'd also been the financial backbone of my family for the past 3 years. Every month, I'd deposit a large sum of money into their account, which they believed was the return on an investment they'd made in my education. In truth, my father's real estate firm was on the verge of bankruptcy, and my mother's so-called consulting business was mostly a front for her social activities. 3 days before the embassy ball, Henry called. "Mom said you're going to the French embassy gala. Who invited you? These events aren't for just anyone." I told him it was Ambassador Gerard. He scoffed. "You're probably just translating there. You know, interpreters usually work in the back. And Alicia, make sure you dress properly. I doubt you have a decent gown. Maybe rent one." Little did he know that Claudette had taken me to a private atelier in Paris last month. She'd personally selected a custom-made Dior gown for me, which cost a fortune. On the night of the gala, I arrived at the embassy at 7:45 p.m. The building was magnificent, with grand columns and the flags of France and the United States fluttering in the breeze. There were multiple security checkpoints. At the first one, the guard checked his tablet and said, "Miss Dupont, you're on the VIP list. Please proceed to the main entrance." As I walked towards the next checkpoint, I heard Henry's voice. "Excuse me, that woman.
She's not a guest."
She probably works for the event staff." I turned around to see my entire family standing there, looking immaculate. Henry in his Armani suit, Lily in her own designer dress, and my parents looking every bit the wealthy couple. The security guard was confused. "Ma'am, I just cleared her. She's on the VIP list." But Henry insisted, "There's no way she's a VIP. She's probably a translator or something." My mother squinted at me. "Is that Alicia? What are you doing here? You don't usually go to events like this." I walked back and said calmly, "Hello, everyone. I'm here as a guest." My father laughed awkwardly. "These invitations are very exclusive. They're not given to people without proper connections. The security guard was clearly uncomfortable. Just then, a senior guard came over. After checking his tablet, he said, "Miss DuPont, I apologize for the delay. The ambassador asked us to inform him as soon as you arrive. Please come with me." My family was in disbelief. Henry said, "That's my sister, but her name is Thompson, not DuPont." I quietly replied, "I changed my name 2 years ago." My mother's face went pale. "You changed your name? Why didn't you tell us?" I told them I'd mentioned it before, but they never cared to listen. My father then tried to say, "If you're a guest, we should go in together." I retorted, "You just told the security you didn't know me. That seems clear enough." I followed the senior guard inside. The embassy was a sight to behold, with marble floors and crystal chandeliers. The guard led me to a private reception room where Ambassador Gerard was talking with some officials. When he saw me, his face lit up. "Alicia, you look stunning. Claudette will be delighted." He introduced me to the group as his daughter and one of the State Department's best interpreters. I was then introduced to a series of important people, including senators and business tycoons. For the first time in my life, I felt truly respected and valued. At 8:30 p.m., we moved to the main ballroom. I saw my family near the bar. They were trying to network, but their eyes were constantly on me. Claudette found me right away and hugged me. "You look like a true Belgian princess," she said. For the next hour, I was introduced to more powerful figures. The British ambassador complimented my work at a recent international conference, and a tech mogul asked if I'd be interested in joining his global team. My family watched from afar, their expressions changing from confusion to panic. At 9:30 p.m., Ambassador Gerard took the stage. He talked about Franco, American relations, and then his tone softened. 2 years ago, during a difficult diplomatic mission in Brussels, I met an extraordinary young woman. Her talent, dedication, and kindness reminded me so much of my late son. My wife and I couldn't help but love her. That young woman is here tonight. Alicia DuPont, my adopted daughter, and one of the world's finest diplomatic interpreters. "Alicia, would you join me?" I walked onto the stage, my heart pounding but my step steady. Ambassador Gerard hugged me tightly and said, "Alicia represents the best of both our countries. She bridges cultures and resolves conflicts with grace and intelligence." The applause was thunderous. As I looked out at the crowd, I saw my family. They were frozen, their champagne glasses forgotten, their faces a mask of shock. After the speech, people swarmed around me to congratulate me. The French foreign minister kissed my hand, and several diplomats asked for my contact information. My family tried to approach, but they couldn't get through the crowd. At 10:45 p.m., they finally cornered me near the terrace. My mother started, "Alicia, what's going on? The French ambassador adopted you? Why didn't you tell us?" I told them I had mentioned it before, but they never cared to ask. Henry said, "This is crazy. You can't just replace us with another family." I replied, "You never treated me like family in the first place." Just then, a client of my father's approached. "Thompson, I didn't know you were related to the DuPont family. Your daughter's conversation with the French foreign minister was amazing." My father forced a smile. "Yes, Alicia has always been. We're very proud. She works for the State Department as a senior interpreter." The client then turned to me. "Your father never mentioned you were in diplomacy. I thought you were working in his firm." I simply said, "My father and I don't talk much about my work." After the client left, my father's face darkened. "You made me look bad in front of a major client." I said, "I just told the truth. Maybe you should have acknowledged my real job instead of downplaying it all these years." Claudette then came over and said, "Alicia, the foreign minister is leaving and wants to say goodbye." I said, "Of course, Maman." My biological mother flinched. "Maman? You call her that? I'm your mother." I replied quietly, "You're the one who gave birth to me. Claudette is the one who sees me, supports me, and celebrates me." I walked away with Claudette, leaving my biological family standing there, surrounded by people who now knew the real me. By Sunday morning, photos of the embassy gala were all over the newspapers and diplomatic journals. Every picture showed me with Ambassador Gerard and important officials. The captions identified me as Alicia Dupont, senior diplomatic interpreter and daughter of Ambassador Gerard. My phone was flooded with missed calls and messages from my family. My mother's voicemails were increasingly desperate. Henry sent an email saying I'd embarrass the family, and Lily texted that I was being too dramatic. My father's email was the most telling. Several clients have asked why I never mentioned your diplomatic career. This is bad for the firm. We need to talk. I didn't respond to any of them. I also stopped the monthly financial support. Within weeks, their luxurious lifestyle started to crumble. Henry's colleagues questioned why he'd never mentioned his talented sister. My father's clients were confused about his lack of use of my diplomatic connections, and my mother's social circle evaluated all the times she belittled my career. The next month, Ambassador Gerard hosted a private dinner for family and close friends at his mansion. Claudette and I cooked together, just like we'd done many times before. Gerard told funny stories about my early days learning diplomatic etiquette. We laughed, drank wine, and celebrated the simple joy of being together. I finally realized that family isn't about blood or legal papers. It's about who is there for you, who appreciates you, and who shares in your success. My biological family had chosen to ignore me, and now I had a new family that truly valued me.